Welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Hello students, become second year 4th semester. Today we are going to learn the concept of index numbers. So, by understanding the index numbers, we can have the knowledge about the change of economic variables and all. In this lesson, we are going to understand about the concept of index numbers and what are the basic characteristics of index numbers and what is the utility of these index numbers, what are the various kinds of index numbers. These aspects we are going to learn in this particular session. Economic variables. In general, we use the word economic variable. What are these economic variables? Price, production, export, imports, and all these aspects changes according to the time and place. So, as the variable word itself represents changes according to the time, economic variables also changes with respect to the time and place. So, they may increase or decrease over a period of time and also with the place. So, these index numbers basically are used to measure the changes in a specific variable or a set of variables. So, to analyze these changes, we compare the data relating to two periods or otherwise two places. That means, we can compare the price of petrol in the Delhi and also we can compare the price of petrol in Hyderabad, and we can compare the price of petrol in the 2020 year and also in the year 2025. Like that, we can analyze the change in the price of a particular economic variable and also with respect to the time and also with respect to the place. Not only price, we can study the changes in the economic variable with respect to the agriculture production and also exports of the country and all. These index numbers helps us to measure the variations in the magnitude, that is numerical value, or the impact of change of either specific economic variable or a set of economic variables. Say, with a single variable, let us start with the understanding aspect. So, example, if we start studying about the gold price index, if you understand the price of the gold, it is constantly increasing from the last 5 to 6 years. If you compare the gold price in the year 2020 with the gold price in the 2025, that constitutes an index number. In this example, 2020 gold price is taken as the base year and 2025 gold price is taken as the current year. Current year price is expressed as a percentage of the base year price. That means, 2025 current year gold price is expressed as a percentage of 2020 gold price. This change is studied with respect to the index number, and also change in the magnitude of the group of variables is also analyzed with the help of index numbers. What is a set of group of variables? So, if we talk about cost of living, then cost of living is a combination of various aspects, that is food, shelter, clothing, education and so on. So, the cost of living index represents the change in the value of the group related variables, that is family budget. Increase in the cost of living index basically tells us about how much money is spent by a family over the period of time. It indicates that if the cost of living is increasing, cost of living index is increasing, that means the family is spending more amount for the purpose of daily life. So, coming to the other aspect in that, now coming to the definition of index numbers. Index numbers are defined by so many authors in the different ways. According to Morris Hamburg, in the simplest way, index number is nothing but more than a relative number which expresses the relation between the two figures, where one figure is taken as the base year. As I told you just now, one figure is taken as the base year and current year price or current year variable is taken as the current year as an item, and then we express the index number as a percentage. John I. Griffin, he has also defined the index number. An index number is the quantity by which reference to the base period shows its variation, the changes in the magnitude over a period of time. By analyzing these two definitions, we can understand that index number is a comparison of base year price with the current year price and current year price with the base year price also. Normally, current year prices are compared with the base year prices, or current year value is compared to the base year value, and then we can ascertain the index number, which is expressed as a percentage. So, now we are proceeding towards the characteristics of index numbers. Index numbers are basically specialized averages. What is a specialized average? These are weighted average compiled from the sample of various items to be representative of the whole, which are measured in the different types of units such as kilograms, liters, meters, etc. So, if we go for the cost of living index number, the cost of living index number is a composition of the various items. Say for example, room rent, that depends on the number of rooms, transportation expenses, that depends on the petrol, and use of cloth, that depends on the number of meters, and so on and so forth. All these items are expressed in the different units of measurement, but to study the overall change in the cost of living index, we have to take a common base, that is nothing but the index number. So, set of aggregate variables are studied and total effect of the cost of living is studied with the help of the index number. To understand this one, if we say that cost of living in the year 2020 is increased by 150%, that means there is a change or increase in the cost of living of the family. So, cost of living index number represents the measurement of the change in the set of related aspects. These are this one. The another characteristic of index number is that index numbers measure the change in the group of related variables. So, as I told you, index number always measures the relationship between two periods, that is, one is industrial production, country's exports, economic aspects, and so on and so forth. Industrial production, say for example, last year industrial production is increasing this year. So, let us take a smallest example. What is the manufacturing of the electric vehicles? Then how many electric vehicles are manufactured in the year 2020, that is compared with the electric vehicles number manufactured in the 2025. That means a specific variable number of units is measured and compared in the two base periods. So, like that, index numbers help us to understand the related variables, not only related variables, specific variable and a group variables and all. Then coming to the next characteristic of index numbers measure the effect of changes over a period of time and the different places also. The change in the cost of construction, let us go with the smallest example. We are identifying that in the construction industry, gradually the cost of construction is going on. So, in the different places, the cost of construction per square feet always differ. Say for example, in the Hyderabad, the cost of construction compare with that with the Bombay, Delhi and so on. That means, in the different places the same index number always will differ. But to understand about this aspect, the cost of construction of square feet is a composition of different aspects like cement, iron, sand, etc. So, a composite index number or a group of related variables which comprise into one index number, that is also studied with the help of the index numbers. So, these index number measure the changes over a period of time in a set of variables and also among the different places, among the different time periods also. The another important characteristic is to that index numbers are expressed as a percentage. As I told you, index numbers always expressed in terms of percentage. The price of the current year expressed as a percentage of the base year and multiplied with 100, then we can get index number. Say for example, price index number. Price index number represents the change of the price in a specific variable comparing with the base year price, which is denoted by P0, and current year price, that is denoted by P1, and finally we will ascertain the value of the index number by specifying that P1 by P0 into 100, which you are going to understand in the lesson, that is construction of index numbers. So, in the various states also the agriculture production always will differ, that is also can be measured with the help of the index numbers. So, like that if we proceed to another characteristic, index numbers measure the change not capable of differently measurable also. Sometimes where the actual change in the economic variable or actual change in the variable or actual change in the set of variables which cannot be measured directly, that also can be measured with the help of the index numbers. So, we can understand that index number helps us to understand basically the change between the two periods or two areas or two places and so on of a specific variable or a set of variables. In this process they are very helpful for the various purposes, and these are said to be the characteristics of the index numbers. Now, let us proceed to the another important aspect of index number, that is utility of index numbers, how these index numbers are useful in the various aspects. So, index numbers as they measure the change in the economic activity from the base period to the current year, from one place to another and so on, then they are very useful to study, analyze an economic activity, how it is impacting to the economy and various other aspects also. All economic activities like sales, production, demand, etc. are aggregated and analyzed with the help of the index numbers. So, with the help of the index numbers we can take decisions also which are used for the policy formulation. That means, index numbers are very much useful for the decision making and policy formulation. Just now we discussed about cost of living index number. If the cost of living index number is gradually increasing, we can understand that the person who is earning the same amount of wage, he cannot be able to meet the expenditure. So, when the cost of living index number is going up, it is stands as a measure for the wage negotiations, policy formulations and all. In the same way, in the macroeconomic environment also, if the country's exports are gradually increasing, that means our export policy is suitable. So, in such a way, either macroeconomic variables like exports, imports etc. or microeconomic variables like demand, supply etc. these can be made possible to analyze with the help of the index numbers and also for the purpose of making the various decisions. Then another utility of the index number is that they are used to measure the price level changes. That means, what is the price level change? Let us understand. That is purchasing power of the money, that is considered as the time value of the money also. In the business economics concept also we understood about the time value of the money. In that we observed that a single quotation, today's rupee is not equivalent to tomorrow's rupee. That means that what we can buy with a unit of money, that is not possible with the same unit of money over a period of time. So, let us take a small example and understand with that. If you are having 5,000 rupees in your pocket, 10 years back you can buy 1 gram of gold, but now if with the 5,000 rupees which is in your pocket, you can't buy 1 gram of gold. That means, it is half only will come. That means, what you can buy with 5,000 rupees previously 5 years back, that is not possible now. That means, your money value is almost half. That means, the money value is gradually falling down. With this concept, the discounting principle also apply, which you studied in the business economics concept. That is called as purchasing power of the money. Purchasing power of money basically tells us about with the unit of money what you can buy now, what you can buy after a specific period of time. Then these index numbers are also useful for the purpose of analyzing the price level changes, that is purchasing power as well as the time value of the money. Next, coming to the another important utility of the index number, the prime utility already we studied to measure the changes in the value of a set of related variables, that is I gave the example of construction cost, that is a set of variables, and single variable, that is gold price, and set of variables another example that I have given you about the cost of living index also. So, all these examples are related to specific aspect. So, single item, that is gold price, gold index, set of items, that is cost of living index, construction cost and all. Then another important utility of the index number is determination of real wage. So, by applying the concept of time value of the money, what a person is getting today, is it equivalent to what he got earlier? That means, if a person is getting 3000 rupees now and the price index is 150%, then in such a way that is equivalent to 200 rupees now only. How we can go with that? The formula real wage is equal to money wage by price index into 100. If you divide money wage with the price index, that is 3000 divided by 150 and multiply with 100, that comes to 2000 rupees only. That means a person getting 3000 rupees now and with the price index of 150, that is equivalent to 2000 only with respect to the base year. So, like that, what is the real value of the money he is getting? Even though numerically he is getting 3000, but real wage value is only 2000 what he is getting. So, that this is very useful to determine the real wage of all the employees and also what is the cost of living of them, whether the wages given to them is sufficient or not. All this decision making process can be done by using the index number. Another important aspect of the index number is that it is used for the study of trends or tendency. What is a trend? What is a tendency? If you observe the specific variable changes over a consistently period of 5 years or 10 years, that is considered as a trend and a tendency. So, if you study the price of the gold over the last 5 years or demand for the petrol over a period of 10 years, electric vehicle demand from the last 5 years, if you study and construct an index number, that is very helpful to decide about what is the future course of action. So, coming to the point now, index numbers for 5 years for a single variable like gold rate etc., it helps to analyze what is going to be the trend of the gold rate. So, if the gold price index is increasing, that means you can say that in the next coming years also the gold price is going to increase. In the same way, it also helps for the understanding what is the trend and tendency of the public towards the electric vehicles. Electric vehicle demand is gradually increasing nowadays. So, if from the last 5 years consistently if the electric vehicle demand is increasing, then we can understand that people are accepting the electric vehicles and we can produce more and definitely there will be a demand for the electric vehicles and so on and so forth. Like that, index numbers are very useful for understanding the trend of a single variable or multiple variables also. If the cost of living index is also gradually increasing or construction cost is gradually increasing, that means it gives a tendency that the variable is gradually increasing, it is not going to fall down. Like that, we can understand the nature or tendency of a specific economic variable. It helps for the formulation of the policies also. The various economic policies like wage policy, export import policy, all these policies are based on the index numbers also. What is the wage policy? For making the wage policy, we can use the index number, that is the real wage. Export policy, what is the exports during the last 10 years, whether the country's exports are sufficient or not, all these aspects we can determine with the help of the index numbers. And lastly, these index numbers are useful as economic barometers. What is a barometer? In physics, we know that barometer express the pressure in the atmosphere, and in the economic aspect also index numbers helps us as economic barometers. That means they will study the impact of a change in the economic variable over the country's economy also. Index numbers help for the purpose of analyzing the impact of change in the economic variable. Then that is the reason why index numbers are said as the economic barometers. With these important points, we understood the utility of the index numbers. Now, coming to the most important aspect, that is kinds of index numbers. What are the various kinds of index numbers and how they are useful? How to understand the concept of each individual index number? Let us go through that. So, the first we have to understand that three kinds of index numbers are there, that is one price index number, quantity index number, value index number. First coming to the price index number, which is represented by P01, that means price of the base year expressed as a price of the base year is compared with the price of the current year, or else price of the current year is compared with the price of the base year, which is expressed as a percentage. So, this is when you take the price as a parameter, that is considered as a price index number. Price index number again subclassified as 3, that is wholesale price index, retail price index, consumer price index. Wholesale price index is applied for the entire economy, which tells us about total economic condition, that is exports, production and all other aspects also. How much is the agriculture production, how much is the industrial production, how many goods are exported, what is the aggregate demand, what is aggregate supply, what is the total economic condition. All these aspects can be understood with the help of the wholesale price index. Whereas, when coming to the retail price index, it studies about the change in the specific commodity. I already explained about gold price index, that is the best example for the retail price index. If you take a single variable, that is gold price, petrol price and so on, production quantity, agriculture production, all these aspects that comes under the retail price index. Then consumer price index, that studies about price level changes of a basket of goods which analyze the cost of living. These are three important aspects which you want to study about, which you have to study about the price index number. Then coming to the another important element, that is quantity index number. When you are studying about the quantity index number, we study the quantity change of a particular variable, that is how much is the production, how many number of units are manufactured during the last 5 years, during the last 10 years, like that we go on with the study. And in the case of agricultural production, during the last 5 years, if you construct a data, that will help us to understand what is the quantity index number. This is represented by Q01, that means current year quantity, which is expressed as a percentage of the base year quantity. That means how much quantity is produced this year, that is analyzed with the previous base year quantity, and then we construct the quantity index number. Basically, the quantity index numbers are very useful to determine the production process, whether we can continue with the same production line or we have to change over the production line, how much quantity that can be produced over a period of time. All these aspects will be understood by constructing the quantity index number. Then coming to the another important element, that is value index number, that is represented by V01, whereas value of the current year is compared with the value of the base year, then we divide the current year value with the base year value, that is multiplied by 100. So, normally the value index numbers are very rarely used, and then we observe that most important category out of this value index numbers helps for the purpose of measuring the change in the total value of the commodity, that is measuring the total value of the commodity. That means what is the total value manufactured, what is the total sales made over a period of sales is an economic variable, already we know that. So, to measure the total value of sales of a particular commodity by a company during the last 5 years also can be understood. But one thing is that product of price index and quantity index, that gives value index number. That means value index number V01 is equal to P01 into Q01. These three are the basic kinds of the index numbers. In total, we can summarize that the index numbers always measure the changes in the economic variables. All these economic variables are always changing. Then coming to the another important aspect, that change in the magnitude of the various economic variables will be studied with that, and basically cost of living index number, cost of construction index, all these are said to be the group index number, group variables, and then individual price index numbers and so on, and different definitions are also given with the index numbers, and then all the characteristics which are discussed are always factors or always represents the nature of the index numbers also, and we can say that index numbers are very useful for the decision making process and for the purpose of policy formulation and so on and so forth. Index numbers are classified into three, that is price index, quantity index, value index. Price index numbers always changes with respect to the change in the price of the current year with respect to the change in the price of the base year. That is how the price is changing, that can be studied, and wholesale price index, retail price index, consumer price index are the sub classification of the price index number, and whereas quantity index number always represents the change in the quantity of production and quantity of variable and so on and so forth. And quantity index numbers are useful to determine the production policy and so on. Value index number always helps us to go for the measurement of the total value of the commodity, and it is a product of the price index number and quantity index number. So, we can understood that index numbers are specialized devices or specialized weightage averages. So, to understand about the fundamental aspect here, we use so many variables in this, and finally we will bring it into a summarized single value, and that is used for the purpose of taking a decision variable. Some of the items that we can't express in terms of the numeric value, that also can be analyzed with the help of the index numbers. Thank you very much.